Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody, depending what time it is, where you're listening. It's Monday, July 27th, and you're listening to Thoughts, Comments, Opinions. Today's guest is Sam Skinner, who has written a series of children's books aimed for the ages 4 to 12 called The Life and Legend of Bob Wire. Sam's great fun. He's got a fantastic voice, too. Let's see. Other than that, we have a little bit of extra time today. We've got more guests coming up this week. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking to the noted photographer Combe Jackson. And later in the week, the fantastic short story writer Orla Foyle as well. And we have a couple of surprises coming up, too. As always, if you know of anybody that you'd like to hear interviewed on Thoughts, Comments, Opinions, do drop us a line. The email address will be run somewhere on the written page accompanying this. In the meanwhile, then, sit back, relax, fire up a podtini, and listen to the pictures as they fly through the air. And on the line from Norman, Oklahoma, we have Sam Skinner. Hi, Sam. How are you doing?
Good morning, Hubert. Doing good.
Glad to hear it. What would you like the listeners to know about the book, The Legend of Bob Wire?
Well, it's a series of kids' books or children's picture books. It's the first book is The Legend. We got to establish who Bob Wire is.
Right.
He's a very unique character. There's nobody else like him. And then the rest of the series, he has adventures with different people and different places, and there's always a little lesson at the end. But I'm trying to interest and entertain my audience and leave them with something to think about a little bit.
Sure. And tell us about Bob Wire himself. And first of all, where his name, Bob Wire, comes from.
Well, I'm from West Texas in New Mexico and grew up in a ranching family. And of course, you always had to go fix the fences. Well, until I was about 13 years old, I didn't know it was called barbed wire. I thought it was bob wire because that's, let's get the barbed wire, get the pliers, get the post hole diggers.
And that's it for today's show. Once again, I'd like to thank Sam Skinner for coming on and talking about his book, The Legend of Bob Wire. And as you heard, there's a whole bunch of them out there. We do appreciate your comments on the show, so please feel to take a look. You can visit us on our websites, Buy the Book Reviews, that's all one word, .blogspot.com or .ie or wherever the heck you are. And as well, we have a new WordPress site. The lovely accompanist and composer of our theme song, Kira Doyle, and I have written a series of plays, and you can find us on WordPress if you just Google and search the term Do Angels Breathe. So thanks so much for listening, and from all of us in Ireland who work the late shift, good night, everybody.
Got to go work. So I always heard it was bob wire, and that's what I thought it was until I got on up in age a little. And so I was wanting to create a character that was kind of a Western character. He was a little different, but he was also not a real old-timey cowboy. Because in my lifetime, I've seen a lot of transition from ranching to oil to whatever. And having some kin folks in the oil business and been around that too, I said, this guy needs to be, he comes off a ranch, he gets in the oil business, he does legendary things. And one of the things he does that I kind of think is cool is he learned how to tame thunderbolts. So he really doesn't ride a horse a lot. He can ride anything, but he rides this Thunderbolt all over, and he gets around pretty good on it. He can cover a lot of ground with that Thunderbolt.
You would.
Yeah. So it also causes some problems in some of the stories, but it all turns out good.
What
It's all
age group?
supposed to be fun.
What age group are you aiming the books at?
I think about 4 years old to 12
Hmm.
years old.
Sure. Yeah. You know, around the point where they're just kind of starting to learn how to read and all that. So
Right.
you mentioned that you worked in the oil industry. What did you do there?
Well, I've worked a little bit in the oil business, but not most of my time was actually in the saddle business and Western leather goods and a large animal type stuff, horses, cattle. But I had a lot of kin folks that were in it. I had a stepdad, all of his family were in it. They all lived in Odessa, Texas. I used to go to Odessa every summer and spend a month or two with them. And of course, I grew up hearing stories from them and just in general out in that part of the world. I had uncles that had oil leases, and even my mother has oil leases. So you just get involved with those people, and that we all have the same background. A lot of us. I mean, we come from out in that country, and we grew up about the same. So it's just part of the whole atmosphere.
Yeah, gotcha. So, the stories in the books, are they based off stories that you heard as a kid growing up that you've transformed, or are these fresh Sam Skinner originals?
Some of both.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of them are based on something I've heard or on bits and pieces I've heard. I was a traveling man, so I traveled all of that country for 30 years, knew everybody, or knew I could go into a town and say, "Hey, do you know so and so?" Yeah, so I had friends everywhere. But then a lot of it though, I said, what if this happened and then this happened and Bob Wire did this? So it's some of both.
Now, I noticed that you dedicated the book to your granddaughter, Lily Kate
Yes.
Skinner. So is Granddad the designated bedtime storyteller when you're over there, or
Heck yeah.
you
I
got
I
no choice? I can't.
well, no, I want to read to her, but I came from a family where you read. I was read to as a kid, and I loved it. And then all my grandparents, aunts, uncles, mother, father, and then I read to my kids, and they read to my granddaughter, and I'm going to make sure she's read to. But yeah, when I wrote them, I thought, would Lily Kate like this? Even though it's kind of tilted toward the boys, some of the future adventures, there's some women involved and girls, and I tried to get it, spread around there where everybody has something they're interested in.
Nice. So when you wrote the book, did you test drive it by Lily Kate?
Now, my son kept wanting me to, and I said, no, I don't want her to see it till I get it all finished with pictures and everything.
How come?
so, I have a daughter though that she's a professional journalist, and of course it's Lily Kate's her niece, so I would run it by my daughter. So what do you think? Think Lily Kate would like that, or little girls would like that? She helped me with the first one, some of the editing.
And who did the illustrations for the book?
A lady named Kathy Lee that lives in Edmond, Oklahoma, which my publisher's in New Hampshire. But I told them I need an illustrator for this thing, and they said we can handle that. Well, then I thought, she's probably in New Hampshire. I'm gonna have to explain to her what Bob Wire, what Pump Jack looks like. What a Larry is supposed to look like. But I got on the phone with her, and I could tell from the area code she was somewhere in Oklahoma. So she knew everything. That's so great. I have to get pictures of everything, explain how it works. So
Oh,
it was
good.
great. It was great. It was great.
So, what inspired you to become a writer? Is it something that's always been in the back of your head through life, or what was this a new idea? How did it happen?
Well, I guess I when I was growing up, I wanted to be a sports writer. I thought that'd be the thing to do, and I was always involved in athletics. But I thought, there's going to come a time when I can't compete, but I still like being around it, and I really didn't want to be a coach. So I thought I'll be a newspaper sports writer. Well, time went by, and I got off into business school, and forgot about it. But I always kind of liked writing, and so I always was always writing something down just for me. And I got older and kind of retired, and I thought, I need to do something serious, but I don't think I've got it in me to write a long novel. Even though I'm in the middle of one now, and I'm gonna see if I can pull it off. But I thought I can write a kid's story, but I can't draw pictures as well as I'd like. So I just kept researching and messing with it. It all kind of came together pretty really. I just started getting a hold of some people, and I wrote some stories and ran by some people that I know, friends and different people. And I said, "What do you think?" And they said, "It's cute." I said, "Do you think I should proceed with this?" So yeah. So there you go.
Fantastic. And how long did it take you to write the Legend of Bob Wire?
Well, these are pretty short stories, so
Mm-hmm.
they don't take me too long. A couple of days, 2 or 3 days at the most. They seem to just when I sit down and start kind of thinking, well, okay, Bob's going to go to Oklahoma, or he's going to have an adventure out in New Mexico. What? And I just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of comes together because I thought, well, I remember that story about that old boy out there looking for the lost Dutchman gold mine. What if Bob da da da? So it just kind of flows out.
Oh, fantastic. And how did you go about finding a publisher?
Well, I got online,
Mm-hmm.
just did a little research, and I found one. Well, Mindster Media, the publisher, he's he has the guy that owns that. He's written or sold about 200 to 300,000 kids books, and that's what I was kind of looking for. Somebody knew about children's books, how to market them, and so I just started talking to him, and it was just come together pretty easy, and they've been great to work with. Everybody over there has really at the publisher and the illustrator and the whole group.
Fantastic. Um, d- do you find it at all difficult working the language to fit 4 year old's ears?
Well, no, because I'm not really. I'm thinking about the story appealing to a 4-year-old, 12-year-old. And I've got a great picture. One of my friends sent me his son sitting in an easy chair with a cowboy hat on, and he's looking at the Legend of Bob Wire. And he put in there. He says he can't read yet, but he's telling me what the pictures say.
Ah,
So
that's sweet.
it's a great picture. It's on my website. But well, I have this Southern talk or West Texas talk or whatever, and I can write correctly, but when I speak, it's going to come out. He sure does like that instead of he sure does appreciate that. So I just kind of wrote it like I would tell this grand story to my granddaughter, which when I see her, we trade stories. I'll tell her a story and then she'll tell me one. And so I just wrote it from that viewpoint, and I thought they'll get the message, and it'll be Bob Wire's way of doing things.
You should do an audiobook version of it because you've got a fantastic storytelling voice too.
Well, I might do that at some point. I'm still just trying to get this thing rolling.
For other people writing children's books and so on and so forth, it, any advice that you were given or that you'd like to pass along to them?
Well, I guess the main thing is it's going to take longer than you think. It seems like in the publishing world, and and I come from a creative background, so I understand it takes time to develop things and get everything like you want it. But I don't know, just and I'm not the only client or customer that some of these people have, but it just takes a little longer than you think. But just be patient, believe in what you're doing, and just have fun. Mainly have fun. Just do it for fun.
Absolutely, yeah. Because if you enjoy what you're doing, you're never really going to
Right.
work.
That's right.
So when it came out, when it was all illustrated and in book form, how did did Lily Kate like it?
She loved it. Of course, anything Grandpa does is great.
Yeah.
But no, she really liked it. She lives in Austin, Texas. Not too far down the road from where she lives, there's a road with a big sign that says Bob Wire Drive. So that
No
she
kidding.
wanted to know if he lived over there, and I said no, he just yeah. I said no, he just passed over there and hung out a little bit. But they did name it after him.
Really?
Yeah,
So you already have a street named after the book.
that's right. No, I didn't really name it after him, but
Hey,
that's what I
we'll go with it. Like sneak a little picture on it or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
and glue it on.
But she thought that was great.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So I always give the end of these podcasts to the the guests talk about anything they'd like to talk about. So is there anything at all that you'd like to say to the listening audience? It could be about books, it could be how the Cowboys are looking for
Sure, sure.
the next season. Anything you want, man.
Well, first of all, I've got a website. It's bobwirelegend.com, and if you Google Bob Wire Legend, you'll see all kind of stuff, reviews and everything else. And there's 6 books out now. Well, there's actually 5 out now, and the 6th one should be out for Christmas.
Fantastic.
Um, so, and look, and there's some more already written that I hope to get out next year. So Bob Wire's going to be in California. He's going to be maybe in Alabama. He's going to be in Louisiana. He's going to be in Houston. He's everywhere. If you see a lightning bolt
There's
streaking
Bob.
across the sky, look out.
Are you planning on having him go to all 50 states?
I don't know. That's a possibility. That's a heck of a lot of books.
Yeah, it
It's
is
not that
that.
I couldn't come up with some story. It's just, I don't know if I want to go that far, but there are, like, some of these are written for, like, some friends of mine or people that I know, and they really are big Bob Wire fans. And I said, well, maybe I can write one about this over here that's, and kind of get it involved with where you're from or what you're doing. And they think that's kind of neat. So,
I do too. I do too. So, is the legend of Bob Wire and the other books? They're available in bookstores or online or both, or how do folks get a copy?
well, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, online. I don't know of any bookstores other than there may be some Western store, feed store type places because I know a lot of those people and they sell a lot of books and a lot of times it's about how to shoe a horse or how to train a horse to do this, but they also have some humorous things. And at Christmas they're always looking for something, and this we've already got some stores selling those, and I've got a distributor friend of mine that's he's got 2,000 dealers, so we're hoping they'll be out some of them, especially around Christmas.
Fantastic. Well, I wish you the best and thank you ever so much for coming on the podcast, Sam.
Appreciate it, Hubert.
Take care, my friend.
Okay, you too.
And that's it for today's show. Once again, I'd like to thank Sam Skinner for coming on and talking about his book, The Legend of Bob Wire. And as you heard, there's a whole bunch of them out there. We do appreciate your comments on the show, so please feel to take a look. You can visit us on our websites, buy the book reviews, that's all one word, blogspot.com or .ie or wherever the heck you are. And as well, we have a new WordPress site. The lovely accompanist and composer of our theme song, Kira Doyle, and I have written a series of plays, and you can find us on WordPress if you just Google and search the term Do Angels Breathe. So thanks so much for listening, and from all of us in Ireland who work the late shift, good night, everybody.